guess we're back. Yeah. I mean, I had a little weird outage earlier today, but yeah, it's weird to have one at like 6 AM. Like, I get if they're doing maintenance, but I restarted the router and shit, and hopefully that fixed it, but no, for sure. I didn't really do anything while you guys were gone. Just want to reset the thing. Is this, man? And you start some of these platform bits and they're all like so far away. Like, I don't care. The fast jump rope this time. Hopefully it stays for the rest of the game here. I'll go out and grab something once we're done. If it dies again, I'll just probably go out for a bit. See what happens. Yeah, I turned on the auto combo there. I left it on since we've upgraded. Very curious how that plays out.
Are not complete.
Outside of skit her toe. I need 33 more. Yeah. Nice. Guess we'll go exploring. Or we're gonna make use of Big the cat even more than we already are. Well, we have all of the keys we need pretty much, so let's worry about those.
You stray from the path.
Okay, I got so much for that exploration, dude. You shall not pass. How dare thee. You wanna go fast, just start running? Too bad, dude. You dare, you bitch. What little I can hear of this song, it could be good in the right context, but a lot of these like kind of somber feel, atmospheric kind of things are like tend to be like way too quiet, just not fitting enough for the game's writing, and to be the only songs you hear over these entire like zones for like 4 or 5 hours a pop, it's just not good enough. The cyberspace songs are good, if not a little not fitting. Yeah, I bought a wireless pack, some third-party one that was like approved by Microsoft. It works fine. I came with 2 of them. Not so much for that platforming bit. Yeah, it works good. Fuck it, I'll just do that. And I'll just probably, if I don't use a Bluetooth plug-in on PC, I'll just plug it in and then have the battery backup, just to essentially make it so that if I disconnect, it's not a big problem. What the fuck? What am I doing? Try again. How about I just die instead of having like a timer? Jesus Christ, dude. So you just sit there and you hold the parry button. You just, every time you get hit, you just hold it again. But I thought maybe we'd have to kill them after we knock them down, but I think you just literally sit there and just keep knocking them over. Yeah, it's weird. It's like so over. It has so many tutorials, but then sometimes it'll be like, you might actually want some info and they don't give it. In that situation, I mean, you could just feel it out. I wouldn't want one there, but yeah, it is weird where they decide they need a tutorial and where they don't. Absolutely. Nice. Yeah, I could see where I was fucking going. All this speed. Not for none. I need to slow down just so you can see where the fuck you even are. What are the point of those two? How do I get to the far side? Way over there from here. Let's see in one. To get over there, do I have to actually get like all of her like tokens? Do they want me to like almost 100% this zone? I mean, I need a lot of tokens for her. Is that the only way to the other side? Wouldn't that be crazy? I should turn off auto combos. I wanted to see what it would be like, but you know it's just gonna be stupid. That's an upgrade you get, the ability to have the game autoplay for you at times. That just does reduce damage, and I think that's such a weird upgrade. What is going on? Okay, the lottery. Yeah, we know. But this could be good. I want to get some big tokens. I still think it's insane that they put this in the dead center of the fucking, like, the HUD, dude. It's crazy. Like, just put it off to the side or in the corner. It's like literally blocking your shit, man. And the thing is, you're never gonna go through this many rolls, right? So there's a point where it's like you don't care anymore and you're gonna go back to platforming like normal. Like, I'll probably just get 20 and I'm good, right? Another key. One of these, which is good. Where we need to jump is literally blocked by the fucking field, dude. Oh, I don't want to fight these two. I'm actually quite good, thank you. I haven't won any. Won a damn thing yet. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's the most visually interesting thing in the game. How fucking generic and drab and weak the environments are. Do the infinity symbol, dude. Infinite boost, but we're not moving that far, so I need it. I haven't won any of these slots, have I? Oh, there's finally one. I've seen people get like 200. That's so funny, man. Like, if you were a speedrunner and you got the slots, like, getting a shitload of purple coins would actually let you skip very large chunks of content. Because you'd be able to get, like, a bunch of keys and stuff. Well, I didn't get jack or shit. Awesome. Great. Yeah, because I mean, if you technically got... Because I think they introduced it in the second level, maybe it is in the first. Although the thing is, it has to be at night, and I wouldn't be surprised if the speedrun would be so fast they never get many nighttime cycles. But they'd at least get like one, right? I don't even know where we were supposed to go, honestly. I wasn't paying attention. I'm just gonna assume we can't fail if we just follow the path. Yeah, I mean, technically if you got one really good night cycle and then you went to big, I mean, you could just buy keys for the rest of the zones. Or you'd at least save them for, like, maybe the last zone or something, because you get the most fish points in those. Because I just did fishing for 5 minutes and bought all the keys I needed for an entire level. Yeah, that's just so bullshit, because, I mean, all that's gonna do is, like, give, like, have more fucking runners be, like, able to play, right? I mean, the problem is, it's the barrier to entry. How do you get rid of that without some kind of weird ROM hack or something, right? But you can't just pick it up and play it exactly if you want to compete, but, I mean, at that point, if you're gonna compete on the highest level, right? Like, you're probably gonna be able to fucking do all that anyways. like have some kind of ROM hack on fucking, hardware or some shit. And let's be real, it's not like there's enough people playing. You might as well make it fun for the people who are actually doing it. I get it, you want to play, you want to have the game as, you know, vanilla as possible because it's a slippery slope or whatever the fuck, but... Yeah, I'm definitely of the mind that, I should just allow it. I think there's reasonable times to use that kind of thing, and that's one of them. Skipping loads and stuff I think is fine, right? But there's some fuck ones for sure, I feel like. It showed that there was a Chaos Emerald here, but I don't see it. I need 11 more keys. Really? Good God. How many are they thinking I'm getting just running around out here, dude? I can't get this because I'm stuck in 2D, dude. It's fucking awesome, man. Like, I can't actually move forwards and backwards there. There's no allowance for it. It's fucking really cool, dude. Yeah. True enough. Yeah, I mean, I get the slippery slope argument on it, but yeah, I think the intro is like extreme enough and is annoying enough that it'd probably be better to get rid of it. Am I really just grinding out Sage tokens right now? Like legit? We're hoping to find boxes with Sage tokens in them, dude. We already went up here. I need to go back to big too. Gotta save more big coins, man. I knew this was gonna be the fun that awaited. I don't think we're allowed to go down there. She told us not to go, if I remember right. Guess we could try it. Apparently that was an infinity symbol. Sure didn't look like it, did it? Makes you wonder why boost is even a thing. Like why that's a limited resource. Might as well just let it be as much as you want. Fuck, just attach to the wall, please. Thought ended. Yeah, that and the old games had boost. Except in the old games, since you'd actually like have time challenges and stuff, how much you'd use your boost probably wouldn't actually make a difference. Yeah, that too. I'm sure they figured that was just a nice add-on like other games had. Great. Really? That didn't work? You have to like cross the line, dude. You can't just like be on top of it. It's really finicky. Alright, I don't care. Yeah, the boost, the infinite boost buff lasts for a really long time, too. It's another big fishing area, dude. There's probably multiple fishing spots in one zone. Like, we really want you to skip this game. Works for me. Easy access to big. Dream come true. Another one of these, dude. Can we not? God, they reuse so many of the activities in this. Yeah. Sonic and Sonic at the Olympic Games. They're not even like fun, like speed challenges or anything like that. It's just like, just busy work. I'm running a hamster wheel. With hit activities like running a hamster wheel, cut weeds down, and operating heavy machinery. Dude, the fucking contextual fucking lock on. I'm like clearly not going for the one on the left. I'm looking at the one on the right, and it will not lock onto it at all. So I had to fucking jump to the one on the left. Like, there's so little room for you to like freestyle, man. In part because of stuff like contextual lock-ons, right? Like, you have to be facing it on the camera. Like, if I want to jump to this, and it's like behind me, you can't do it. You're not allowed to actually use the dash unless you're locked on. But if I turn, then I can do it, right? And it's just like, why? I mean, at that point, you could just tell by the direction I'm facing with the lock on where I want to go, right? Like, I feel like we're so beyond the camera having so much fucking importance on that kind of thing. Oh, here we are. There's enemies where they'll shoot out like, you know, 12 objects and you have to bounce up them to get to the guy. But because the contextual lock on the camera is so finicky, like, you have to like wait so long in your jump almost to the point where you're gonna miss it for it to finally focus on the right thing.
I'll let you borrow
This happened yesterday. I thought it was pretty funny. Wasn't the normal Coalant 48? You can fish with big. One of the best parts of the game. Fishing lets you buy stats, it lets you buy key items, it lets you buy fast travel that's better than what's already in the game. It lets you pretty much buy anything. If you have enough blue coins, you could essentially skip the entire game. Outside actually walking to the the cutscene points and grabbing the Chaos Emeralds. It's completely stupid that that's a thing, but because the game's not very fun, I'll definitely make use of it. There's a lot of different fish types, which is bizarre. Like, I feel like they modeled more fish in this than they did actual like assets for the environments. There's like fun little items you end up picking up and lucky shit. It's weird they're still giving tickets though. Like 3 tickets is pretty good, that's worth 45. But like you can get fish that are worth more than 40. Commonly. So if you get a single ticket, despite it being a harder input, like a much worse catch. They don't change it for these later ones. Yeah, it's not a very complicated fishing game, it's definitely more just like a little lottery. It's got chill music. Hoping to find the fast travel in this too. Been fishing for a while in here and haven't gotten them yet. only we'd won the lottery a bit. We could fish for a lot longer. Great. Single ticket. Actually a shit cat. There's just nothing that's more expensive than 15. It's essentially like just catching a 15 cost. Like this guy's worth almost double. And the thing is, I only need like 1 or 2 more of the 15s. That's worth even less at this point. There we go. 1 fast travel. There's 2 total. 64 tokens. Yeah. I was hoping Froggy would be in one of these, man. Or maybe he is and he's just like the ultra rare catch, but we're not gonna end up finding out. Alright, turn these bad boys in.
You don't have. Would you like to try? I'll let you. Would you like to try? I'll let.
Gotta fish patiently, absolutely. Nothing so speed like some chill fishing time is all big. Alright, so we have all the keys I think we need now. We just need a token. And then obviously to go over to the zones. I bought a few stat ups in there, but not in a big rush to get any more stats. I don't think it's gonna matter much. Whoa. Whoa. Sonic doesn't bank off of anything. He like attaches to it like a fucking magnet. So you won't go flying off of ledges into the air or fly high up or anything. You just fucking attach to it. I hope I don't need all that many of those, man. Jesus. I guess the other ones I needed plenty, so. Might have to come back. Let's grab some Chaos Emeralds. About this. Not really. This is just to unlock like the map visually and find like get like fast travel, but I swear to God I probably move quicker than the fucking the fast travel rails at this point. And I have an actual fast travel. Maybe. It's just a really expensive fan game. Please understand. Yeah, it does have Halo Infinite Energy. I think it's the generic kind of like mountainy grassland zone that they reuse a lot, and that it's very generic, and that they use it too much, just like in Halo Infinite. I think the best comparison for this game, in terms of potential and the kinds of positive critiques you'll see, and the feeling of execution and stuff, I think the best comparison would be like Arceus. It's got Arceus energy for me. Okay, I guess we're done. Watch for that. Like a faster way to get up there this way. A rare moment where I can actually skip ahead. I don't know if I'd say it's skipping ahead as much as it is just janking into something. Very Arceus. You'll see a lot of people be like, oh, well, it's a step in the right direction for Sonic. Just like with Arceus. But neither of them executed almost anything right. It's just the idea of them being in big worlds that you can explore freely. I mean, of course they get little things right. It's not like it's an unplayable disaster. I don't know, man. That's a generous take on Arceus, but you might be right. I would say I like this better than Arceus, and I don't like this much. I think with this game though, it's like just general 3D platforming is probably a bit more fun than really basic, boring, like Pokemon gameplay with nothing else happening in it. Not that I'm saying JRPGs are worse than platformers, I just think it's easier to have a shorter game that can keep your interest a little bit in a 3D platformer while still fucking it up. Yeah, this is like at some basic level of engagement. Like, Arceus barely can hit those kinds of feels. What they needed to do with Arceus to actually make that good was actually gonna put some more effort into it. I mean, the same with this, but at least we're still running and jumping in some capacity, I guess. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm trying to say world immersion and like flow of the overworld would just be harder to do in like a proper RPG because you have to rely on it more, or what? Probably not. I'm talking out my ass. I'm also comparing two bricks of shite. Okay, it's really everything just an invisible platform here. What's even the point of being able to go up stuff like this? Yeah, they are. I mean, they essentially are just placed randomly. They probably were like, okay, we're gonna make like, you know, he's like, oh, somebody's like, oh, we're just gonna make a little bit of a level here where you just do a little thing. Doesn't matter where it is. It really doesn't matter where it is, right? Doesn't matter if it leads you back around. It's like a shortcut, or if it flows with the terrain or anything. None of that matters, right? If it even uses the terrain, right? It just doesn't matter. It's just literally just random pieces of shit. Just straight about. Why am I even going for these two things? Who cares? Yeah, I'll definitely break into it more when I'm doing the final chit chat about the game. I don't mind talking about it now if you guys want like a specific, discuss a specific take on it or something. But I wrote a lot of notes earlier today. I didn't really honestly want to, but I wanted, if we were going to talk about this, to be pretty comprehensive and not just talking out of my ass. Especially with the bizarre reception for this game so far. I wrote a bunch of shit. Not the most beautifully formatted notes, but there's so much I feel like wrong on so many levels on this, and some of it's not very obvious. Because I feel like it's very easy just to kind of please people with just essentially just random collectibles strewn about an area and a game that just semi-works or pretends there's some kind of story or something in it. But like, you know, I think there's a lot to be said. Yeah. Who knows? I'm sure they wanted it to be good, but man, goddamn, dude. I don't consider this a win for Sonic. And I don't know, I'm not sure why so many people do, man. I mean, I'm glad people are having fun, no matter what you're playing. Have fun, but yeah, Jesus, dude, I don't know. I would not be giving Sonic Team props for this. I mean, you should want better than this, man. I mean, this for 60 bucks, dude. And if this is like $30 or something, maybe, but like, damn it, this is, I mean, this costs as much as like Odyssey or something. What, the evenly, the little gradients going up and down? I don't know. I'm so used to looking at it at this point, I don't even, at least it's not like Pokemon where it's just like a hard cut, I guess. Straight into like the next environment. There are like shadows in this game. I mean, that's where we're at this point. Hey, at least there's shadows and the textures don't hard cut into the next texture. That's cool. I mean, I feel like that's where we're at. It's like some Stockholm syndrome, dude. I haven't seen shadows. Surprisingly, I guess they didn't want to. They just wanted to bring back the core characters for their melodramatic, heartfelt story. I mean, honestly, I would prefer more, yeah, just cheesy bullshit. I don't know, maybe the recent games have really bad cheesy bullshit, but I mean, I could handle the cheese of like Generations and the adventure games. Like, yeah, it's not like great writing, but it was like fun, goofy meme writing for games that were more focused on moving around and having fun, right? The characters were, you know, happy and shit. It's fine if they want to make it serious, but like you gotta sell it, man. You gotta execute, man. I don't think this quite hits those points. I think Sonic Forces was kind of serious, but kind of not too. Boom maybe was. I don't know. I didn't play those last. New Sonic game I played might have been Generations. I always heard so many bad things about like every Sonic game that came out. Oh, Boom was silly. I mean, it sounds like a silly game, but I mean, I don't know.
I believe you can proceed once you find a way to activate the starting device and power the statue.
Sure would have been smoother sailing if we'd been working together from the start, but well, I guess I had to earn your trust first, huh?
Those textures on the ground, dude. Jesus.
Do you know how to activate the starting device?
I figured out.
I wouldn't care if there was like any art direction, right?
Don't sweat it.
But it's funny because they rip assets from obviously Generations and all those other games to reuse in like ripped layouts of old Sonic Boost games, and the assets look so much better. Like I'm at this point where it's like, just give me like a level that's open that's just Green Hill Zone or something. I mean, that feels so lame where you're just like, oh, just go use the old shit. But it's like, would you rather have like an open world Pumpkin Hill on Green Hill Zone, or would you rather have the Unreal Engine flip? And this is probably the best looking zone in the game. Like, I just don't think that contrast here is really that special, man. And they already tried that in Sonic 06, too. Like, the game world is not beautiful enough. It is not real enough. It is not cool enough to run around and to, like... I feel like to just warrant the realism approach to the visuals, man. I don't know. They were going for some kind of like beautiful landscape thing, you know. The waves crashing against the rocks and the clouds. It's so beautiful. I would have just preferred something stylized. You get plenty of this shit everywhere. This is not unique. And I don't care if it is to Sonic. It's just not a good idea. It just doesn't look good. I mean, if they filled these areas with like actual interesting activities instead of the same boring minigames over and over, that'd be something too. Actual events happening and cool, interesting things related to what's fun about Sonic. I mean, sure, have some diversions like this, that's fine. But the diversions like this work when everything else is fun, right? Also, it's on the technical level, the FPS is not very good. I wish it was. You could say, well, that's because it has to be made for the Switch hardware. Dude, Bayonetta runs at almost 60 on the Switch, right? Well, it's like true to a certain extent. Like, I mean, this game does not look juicy enough to not. And I'm playing on the Xbox too. It's like, this is not even like some last gen. Or not, sorry about that. I'm not even playing on the Switch. Sonic people do the, yeah, pretty much. At least this minigame is fun in a very basic way. Like, I'll take it. I'll take this over corralling like ranch animals or moving like spheres with cranes. Have you? Am I looking forward to some good stuff? We'll see. I mean, it might. I don't think there's anything that's going to truly save it, but there might be some silver linings. So hopefully the boss will be one of them. I mean, this is the last area, so. There's just something about the word open world that just gets people, man, I guess. I don't know what it is. Also, my VOD's disappearing. I totally forgot to see if I needed to clip something.
The way is clear.
Far ahead, I don't remember.
Must acquire the Chaos Emerald with expediency.
You got it, Sage. We've run into each other so many times, but I only recently learned your name. You could have told me sooner, you know.
We were enemies. Furthermore, my name holds no meaning.
Well, sure it does. Eggman named you that for a reason. That means you're important to him.
You think he cares about me?
Well, sure. In his own way. Hey, time's a-wasting. Let's wrap this up.
My name? The Evangelion girl. What of it? Another fucking heart-pounding challenge here. I've done 1,000 times. Oh, you probably could just back and forth when you have like another minute. It's just bizarre. Like, I don't mind them just making something casual without a whole lot of challenge, but it's like, it's to such a fucking like fault in this, man. Like, if the activity was fun and it didn't really matter how hard it was, that's one thing, but you're doing things that aren't fun and also laughably easy. It's just like the platforming. Do you see multiple ways to do any of this platforming? No, it's all just fucking like auto platforming. And if it's not auto, there's a couple of fucking hits you're gonna have to do in there. It's like, that's one of the reasons, like, I feel like at least Generations, like, worked out, man. At least in that, in the 3D stages, it's like, at least you actually fucking, like, could, like, freestyle a bit and, like, use your skill to get better, just, you know, even if it was easy to clear. Not that I'm saying Generations is a god game, but it's like, oh damn, dude. That's about all the freestyling you're gonna do is just skip a section there on accident. The actual platforming parts are not really designed with any of that kind of fun in mind. That's where something like a Mario excels a lot better, because it has a lot tighter movement and like its stage design and stuff. You can kind of use your skills to like move about in very interesting ways throughout. In this, it's just like you're just attached to rails for half of it. Oops. Slow down. I don't wanna. I don't need to do these, but I'm just doing them. I don't wanna like skip everything. More skill points. I barely even bought skill points at Biggs, and I'm like, well, more than maxed out. Which I think is funny, because, they're pretty much useless. I mean, I would say the skill tree is like a joke, man. When you get like different abilities and stuff, but I mean, they amount to very little. Like, okay, yeah, you know, the Psy Loop, sure, Phantom Rush, it's like, you just get more damage passively. Air Trick's just a little thing you do when you're jumping around. You know, those are fine in the grand scheme of things, but then like, Stomp, or Kick in midair, or A during a combo, or B during a combo, or L during a combo, or RX during a combo, or Y during a combo, and it's like, well, none of them really also serve like a special purpose, right? Sometimes you're gonna have to loop something that blocks, but it's pretty rare. Other than that, it's like, not many of the moves really serve like a unique purpose. So you're essentially just buying what amounts to just like different kind of style abilities. Which they're not really fun stylish, right? Because you just essentially press a button and watch a 2-second cutscene every time. There's no like flow to the combat or anything, it's just mashing and watching cutscenes. It's like, well, what's really the point of something stylish if it's not fun in the first place? So it's like, they don't serve any kind of practical purpose, and they don't really serve a like fun purpose, right? It's like you ask yourself, is the skill tree even any good? Like, I'm glad it's not just like 10% damage types of skill trees. I think those are always an absolute joke. I hate when games do that, but I like this one's like held so far back by its combat that it's also a joke. The stats don't feel very funny. Like I said, they feel very marginal. I'm sure they make a difference in the long run, but they don't feel very good when you're doing it. In the process of leveling up, especially your speed, is a long, arduous fucking menuing process. Which is another bizarre choice. Like I said earlier too, it's like, what's even the point of speed to a certain extent? Like, yeah, when we're just running to the next story area, sure, but if you're actually doing all the platforming and stuff, like, your speed, if anything, would get in the way. It certainly makes the pop-in feel worse. Need more memory tokens. Like, so much of the platforming requires you not to be going super quick because it's not designed for that. It's designed for like the lowest, you know, possible fucking speed. Nope. Already fought you earlier, dude. Don't need this, but whatever. I don't think there's any more emeralds to grab right now. I mean, other than maybe the last. Oh wait, no, there's one more. Although, has it not spawned in? I think it has to spawn in. I need 38 more. Let's unlock this little part of the map. Maybe we'll find some more big tokens, and then we'll just buy a bunch of shit from big. I'd like to find more chests. Tokens in them. Yeah, and it's like I'm playing on hard mode and I feel like the stats don't have much value. I mean, they of course have some value. They're probably more than I think. But when you don't even feel the stats, I feel like you've tuned them poorly. Like I would much prefer if the stats were maybe something you got less often from more interesting activities and were bigger actual upgrades. Or just ditch the stats. I don't know. I feel like this game just has stats because, you know, other games have stats. It doesn't feel like a super like well thought out deal. I mean, I get like having some kind of progression, you know, like a health or some kind of stamina thing, right? Like maybe Breath of the Wild has. But I do like the kind of the skybox here. The fog and the darkness is pretty nice. Yeah, it's like you don't need it. Like I said, Breath of the Wild uses it sparingly as a means of like, you know, reward and all that kind of stuff. It's tied to even getting like the Master Sword and shit, but like it doesn't really need stats elsewhere. That's where like gear comes in, or like, you know, consumables or something. Makes for a bit more reward. I think having stats is fine. Yeah, exactly. Breath of the Wild really didn't need the stats. It was more about using interesting mechanics and the environment to actually do things instead of just raw stats and shit. I like when I get on the platforming, my speed just disappears too. So you'll be getting used to a certain speed and then you'll get into some auto platforming and then it's fun. Yeah. Or you'll get better gear and it's just like clear, it does a bit more damage or something. Right? I'm saying that's the blueprint, but I'm just saying it's an example of a game that doesn't need stats, that still gives rewards and gear. It's an adventure game. I really don't need to fight this guy. I'm not even like close to the motherfucker now. Thank you though.
I'm never trusting a tower again, no matter how cool it looks.
Epic dialogue that we hear once every blue moon. There's no way Ragnarok will have worse dialogue than this. Like, at least it'll have some semblance of a story, right? I mean, I know Anthony Birch is working on it, but there's no way. Do I expect maybe some cheesy, like, quippy bullshit, like, to an extreme? I think the first game handled it with enough grace. It wasn't full superhero bullshit. I could see them going overboard with the second one. Too many jukes. Trying to make Kratos too too emotional through humor and shit like that. But like, I don't. There's no way, dude. I mean, this shit's fucking weak. This doesn't have as many like cringe lines, but it is so hollow. And going for such just typical ass, like empty story beats. Hell, having to slow down a fight shouldn't be a thing anymore. I get that they're figuring out Sonic Adventure in over 2 decades. Yeah, I mean the thing is like, if they want you to like slow down a fight, that's fine, but you gotta have a good combat system then, right? It's gotta be fun. Otherwise it just gets in the way. Like the old Sonic games, like yeah, it didn't feel awesome, but at least it was just something you did as another obstacle as you're platforming. And I feel like that was fine. And then they'd have little bosses that were sometimes bad.
I guess that makes sense. And it's probably a good idea to limit the info to make sure
it's like
can access it.
It can ruin a platformer so easily. Like look at Demon's Turf, right? That game had pretty fun platforming and you know, pretty cool level design. I didn't love it with all me heart, but it was alright. But its combat was so bad and so tacked on. They clearly tried to like make it something. There's some thoughts on trying to make it unique and stuff, but it ended up just being so shit. And a good part ruined the flow and like everything else. That in the little mini sequel, the DLC that's standalone, they removed the combat completely. It's like, well, at least that random indie game dev that was selling shit for 20 bucks figured that out. But here we are in $60 land. A very different feel. Alright, let's go find Big again. Where's the fishing? Hopefully I get Ragnarok tonight though. I don't want to like have to start something else in between. Is this actually a thing or is this just like more platforming? Wow, oh my god, this is so useful. I'm glad I spent time cycling off in the oh god, like what's even the point? I think after the second area they start adding those in. Where it's like just instead of discovering like a chest or something cool, it's like a piece of platforming, and then so many of them are just like pointless. What's even the point? Well, I want to do some Dragon Quest 11, but I don't want to just spend like 5 hours on it. I might today still, because I want to do some exploring, but we're getting into some pretty, you know, big moments of the game. I don't want to just piecemeal it forever. Although we do need to get some progress in on it.
Hey, son, would you like to try?
I'm just hoping we get God of War, and then I could spend like 5 or 6 days on Dragon Quest, and then we'll get Pokemon. And then just fully finish up Dragon Quest from there. At least this map we're in right now, we can actually just run around, right? Like, the act of running around doesn't require much thought. Like I said, the terrain doesn't really matter, you just fucking lazily go in the direction, but like, at least we can just run to places, right? Like, in the last area, everything was so, like, one way, or you had to go through, like, a bunch of rail sections to even like get to each like disjointed island and stuff, or you had to do a bunch of story moments to unlock the way. You never really got to just like flow around and do shit. That's like, Jesus, man. If you're gonna have an open world, you could at least like let me traverse the damn thing without it being just kind of pain in the ass. And it was the ugliest map. By far, the best map's been the first one. And it wasn't that great. I would say this one's probably better than the second and third, despite being a lot smaller, but hyper-realistic alligator? Yeah. Look, man. Big is the pinnacle of all living species. These guys are behind the times. Yeah, it's weird how, like, detailed some of these fish are. Like, I mean, this stingray's, like, looks pretty good. I mean, for compared to everything else in this game, that's like really bizarre. How many things there are that look halfway decent in the fishing compared to the rest of it. It's like they hired somebody and he's like only job for 5 years was doing the fishing models or something. Although the ground looks bad. Hey look man, I didn't say it was godly, I said it was better. yeah. Yeah, they crocodile and the stingray. They're like animating and shit, like look at them, they're like flipping around and animating and stuff.
You don't have it. Would you like to try?
They actually have things happening. Weird, man.
To try?
No, I've went and watched a lot of Egg Memo stuff afterwards. It's like 2 sentences of Eggman just pretty much stating what's going on. He's like, oh, I think Chaos was actually a mutated descendant of the aliens. Like, yep, I think we already got that. I'm not too interested in the Egg Memo. There's a lot of them. Dozens. Nope. We bought them for a while, but I lost interest. I'd have to be invested in the world and the characters to want to go in on that. Let's turn in some stuff here. The fast travel is impressively fast, yeah. Like the actual fast travel. Moving around through the silver rails is not, but surprisingly the fast travel is. You can only really do it if you unlock it though, and only in certain areas, but it's kind of funny. I guess because they just have the whole map loaded in some capacity, so I mean, you just bust straight to them. No.
There is a Chaos Emerald inside. Your power is required to access it.
First, we gotta open that door. Are you good with hanging around? I thought you were supposed to be looking after Eggman while he helps hunt down the emeralds.
I will be at his side when he needs me. For now, we must focus on the task at hand. Use your power to start the system. Hurry, our time is limited.
Go again. Am I actually doing damage to this thing? I mean, it's flashing red a bit. Yeah, it's just time. As long as you like shot enough of the fucking homing missiles back, the rest was just flavor. I mean, they do that with the big bosses. They're not timed, but like 90% of what you're seeing is just flavor and just visual noise. Like most of the bosses will go phase 2 and start shooting lasers everywhere, but none of them will get close to you. They'll shoot a bunch of extra missiles or do weird attacks and like none of it's coming at you. there's like a single thing you have to care about. If they removed everything that was just noise, the fights would be like super basic. Like I said, the second boss, you could beat it with one hand easily. I did. You hold block and then you spam X, but it looks like so much is going on. There's so much movement you got to do, but it's all very
Emerald
like
number 6, here we come.
dishonest. It's very tricky.
So, earlier you said I had 0 chances of winning. You change your mind yet?
No. But I have not run a simulation on our present circumstances either.
Ah, yeah. So, you're saying there maybe is a chance.
I am saying we are in a desperate situation. The threat we face is beyond imagination.
Hey, if there's even a 1% chance I can turn that despair of yours into hope, I won't disappoint.
Despair and hope. What are the chances? Don't tell me the chances. We're gonna beat the chances. The chances are very low, but we're gonna do it. We got it. We got it in the last 1,000 stories that existed.
One more. I gotta hurry up.
Sonic!
Did Eggman finally do something? Did he find the last emerald?
I know. You're not fast enough, so I found it for you. Go ahead and beat that giant. Don't you dare lose it.
Now why would I want to disappoint you?
Are we just going to the finale? They're friends, but not really. They're enemies, but they like each other a little bit. The Eva. This is way too much like Eva. Come on, man. Well, he looks like he might have more going on, right? Supreme. Yeah, moving. The moving kind of matters. Nice. Here come the fucking pointless lasers, right? Oh, they just got wings. They just gave up on it. Not Eva at all, dude. What is this one? At least hype, yeah, no shit. Oh, at least there's more to dodge this time. Oh, he's locked in right now. Cutscene. Can we do something, please? Or do I have to parry him for an epic cutscene finish? Oh, we're not even doing damage. What are we trying to do here? Do I need to destroy his goons? Oh, dude, you haven't seen any of the other ones then. Same shit, man. Okay, I destroyed when he pulled his gun out. I like how much damage we do, man. It's an insane amount. This is all we were waiting for. What? All of a sudden we're back, dude. Like, that's the game. So since you freeze time when you do a combo finisher, all you do is press X, then B, and you freeze time and just slam all of the damage out until his next phase. Rinse, repeat every fight. Like, yeah, dude. People are like, man, the combat in this is pretty good. You're a fucking goof, man. Like, you can do that with any ability, too. It's not even just the slam, man. It's just fucking bizarre. This is hard mode. We're not even max stats. No, Frontiers, bro. Nice. I shouldn't attack. People who like the combat. You have fun with whatever you like. Yeah. I'm just gonna say it's bad though, for my own sake. I just don't think they should be getting credit. I'd like them to make something really good, man. When people tell them this is like awesome, it's like, what the fuck, dude? And they're just gonna dish out shit. It's a Game Freak situation. I doubt that's the final boss. Not even this. What happened to boss that week or its last fight?
Is that it?
All we did was chase it out of its shell. It's retreating into space to regain its true form. Even Supersonic won't be able to stop it. I know what I must do. I must leave you.
I understand. Go. Fulfill your function.
So we're just gonna fight her now.
Before it regains its full strength.
Ladies first.
Yeah, of course, the Ray VA has to be piloting an Eva at some point. Are we gonna fight in space?
Dear daughter.
God, there's so much emotion. Eggman thinks of that AI as his daughter. I don't know, every time a story happens this, it just feels like they're like attempting to like, you could see what they're trying to do, but it just never quite hits. Like, oh, they're making it, it's super emotional here. The melodrama's there, and it's just like, but it just, the meat of it, the amount of like time spent with these characters, like,
He took your home
it's
world.
just not there, man.
He took your lives.
What?
Are you going to let him do it all over again?
What? Who are you
I
talking to?
need your help. We can end this. Please.
What? This the final fight of Shmup, dude? Man. Where's the Kirby truck? The true enemy. So is this what's different in hard mode? Instead of a QTE, I get it in a Karuga section?
Mortal, you have served your purpose.
I get a Kirby finale, dude.
Now,
Whatever. It's better than playing the actual game.
I am the all-consuming void. What can one mote of golden light illuminate within the abyss?
Countless stars. Countless worlds.
Who the fuck are we talking to, man?
All fell to me. All brought to nothing. All the teeming chaos of creation.
The other Evas? Because they all got fucking juiced or whatever.
To neutrality. To nothing. I saw your mind as you ran through my prison. You have fought machines and gods.
You have fought machines and gods.
They were finite. I am infinite. I
Halo,
am
man.
nothing.
What are you even saying? It's just bullshit. It really is like Eva, man. They just fucking try to say cool shit for the sake of it.
You will be
I saw your mind. Your courage never wavered. Why? Arrogance.
Dude, yeah, I like how Eurokill is fucking better than this. Oh, apparently the thing happened there. Great, that's cool.
I was
I
contained.
thought it was just a phase shift, but instead it's a fucking, like, ass kick section. Yeah, Eurokill has better fucking Schwab section. I mean, that was Eurokill's best feature, was its Schwab, so.
My captors built a whole reality to contain me.
Whole reality to contain. Oh no, this isn't the other evil part. This is the evil thing they were trying to kill him. Dude, it's talking so much. But like, nobody's listening, dude. Like, just, I need the SpongeBob fish guy just like looking around, or Travolta or whatever. Just like, what? Yeah, who the fuck are you talking to? I like how the only time I got hit was that stupid, like, cheap shot, man. This song could be good, though. Got hit again. At least that one was properly, like, slice of difficulty there. Alright, well, at least the big one we know about now. Of course, we gotta restart the whole
You
thing.
have served your purpose.
The longest fight ever. Gotta hear all this talking.
Now face your end.
I was hoping sitting down there would be safe, but
Consuming void.
don't think so.
What can one mote of golden light illuminate within the abyss?
Countless stars, countless worlds, countless lives. All fell to me, all brought to nothing.
It's like a Kirby boss, man.
All the teeming chaos of creation brought to order, to neutrality, to
You remember when Kirby had a Star Fox section and it's for its last boss?
I saw your mind
That's pretty
as you
hype.
ran through my prison.
I guess it was easier than this, but
You have fought machines and gods.
it was more hype for sure. Even though that game has like zero story, they just had way better presentation of it, right? And for the final boss.
You struggle as so many have done before. You will be consumed like all those before you. I saw your mind.
Yeah, Kirby was sick. You know? The Kirby truck, dude.
Arrogance,
I barely even had any gameplay, but it was cool, man.
stupidity.
Stupidity.
I was contained once. Once.
So much talking. It's like a joke, man.
My captors bent time and space. My captors built a whole reality to contain me. My captors burned their souls away to fuel their engines.
Oh, we're fighting the end, too, dude. They tried so hard to make this big and epic, but just like, man, like everything before this game, like everything before this moment in this game, and like all the story and just the shoddy gameplay and stuff, like you just, it's just not earned, right? Not that this is like that awesome, but like maybe in a very specific, you know, instance it could be cool, but because everything was so shit, it just doesn't even matter. Like, it just makes it seem worse than it even is. Not like it's great in the first place, but I need to not sit in the dead center because the shots are coming from the side. Like, it's brought down even more by everything surrounding it. And that it was just out of nowhere. We just ended up in space, and then now we're just the chick piloting the fucking wheel, fighting. I guess the Sonic is attached to this thing too. We're not even dealing damage right now. We're gonna get an epic QT finish.
You fly about me like a gnat. I am inevitable. I cannot be denied.
I am inevitable.
Strike this incarnation
Sick new
with
line,
all
man.
your might. It changes nothing.
Shit sounds like a fucking Halo Infinite, like, plot.
You are not brave. You are not victorious.
Am I just surviving right now? I don't think I'm doing any
No matter what
damage.
form I take.
It's kind of annoying. Oh my god, it's like Nier. Remember Nier?
The end comes for you.
Okay, can I get my last QT, please? We're clearly not doing damage. Epic mash. I'm ready for it.
Now or never!
The piano. Oh, I have to time it. What the fuck? Oh. You can barely see the indicators in the more speed. The keynote shot of him super far away with the piano. You could take individual moments of this and turn it maybe into something cool. But because it's Sonic, because the story's been so nothing, because it just happens out of nowhere, because we have a random shmup section, and because it just feels like it's aping so much other shit, it just... You can't enjoy these moments the way they want you to. Like I said, a lot of these moments come across as them just pulling the same old shit everybody else does. The epic genre change finale. Self-sacrifice and everything, man. I mean, at least that was kind of fun. I'll give him that. Hard to just fuck up shmup gameplay.
Look after.
And if you're gonna copy something, you might as well copy a Karuga. But like, Jesus, dude. It's just, it's so nothing because of everything else. Yeah, like there's cool stuff there. Like I don't hate that final section. It's just that in context, it's just goofy, dude. I'm having an out of body experience. Yeah. Like you put that into something else. Yeah, like that exactly. Like there's cool elements there, and I mean, is it completely unique? Absolutely not. But,
Yes. All right.
whatever. But it's just so unearned, right? Like it doesn't have the impact they're going for it because of how fucking bad everything else is. It just feels more shoehorned. You always end up looking at it more negatively. Like she's like, oh, I just have to go up to the, I have to go, and Eggman's like, okay, and then they're just in space shooting stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, here we are. Like, oh, Christ, even in the old ones, man, with like Biolizard and shit, there's at least a little build up before they flew out into space, man. Can I get like some Utada right now or something? I'm getting out my mute. button just in case. Yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking before I started writing Akira. I was like, man, I just don't care enough. I was just gonna move on. Is this an actual in-game song, or is this some DMCA shit? It sounds on the nose, so it's probably real. Like if they made it. Do you think they actually killed off the little AI girl? Do you think they're gonna try to stick it? They're going for this somber, like, oh, she learned emotions and she learned to love everybody, and you know, she's Eggman's daughter essentially. Do you think they're gonna stick to their guns and actually attempt to at least stick the emotional ending we've tried to make here? Do you think they'll like fucking bitch out? I think she'll come back, you know. Love is beautiful, dude. Wonder how much this was rewritten. Heard it had some pretty heavy rewrites when it gets localized, but I have no idea for sure. That's just hearsay. Well, if I had God of War in the mail, I would probably just say yes, Akira, but I'm gonna at least run through the notes. I mean, I think I've already made probably all my points over the end of the last stream, and then now, but I'll retread a bit. Try not to be too heated about it or anything. Not a lot of positives for me. Yeah, that's a lot of the story. They're just jumping between stuff. It feels very breakneck. Like, they try to have these big messages about loss and, you know, camaraderie and friendship and being able to stand on your own and family and all that, but, like, it's in like 5 to 20 second little cutscene, like, second cutscenes that you just jump between, and then all of a sudden you're into, like, the action sequences in 2 seconds, and then all of a sudden you're at the end, and oh, there was a 1OK Rock song. I was like, man, that really sounded like 1OK Rock. Was that actually made for this by 1OK Rock? That's a pretty big band. They sounded really familiar. I was like, man, this singer sounds familiar, but am I gonna get fucking DMCA'd on this game, man? Surely not. Surely it was made for this. Put it on YouTube right away though, honestly. I don't think my first stream got any mute. They don't track you for that anyway. I just mute it.
So, that was fun.
Yeah, tracker.
But I guess it's time we got moving. I know you all have big plans.
You're gonna hardly recognize me when we see each other
Yeah,
again.
they're just gonna be in the next game like normal, dude.
Make a road trip out of it.
It'll be good to get back to my island. At least for a while.
Yeah, they're all gonna go out and do their own thing,
Go!
dude. Get ready for the spin-offs, except they won't. Sequel hook? I mean, do they really need a sequel hook? It's Sonic, they'll just make another one. What's going on with it? We get another credit sequence, dude? Jesus Christ, dude. Is she alive or not, man? I don't personally care, story-wise. I'm curious if they're gonna try to at least stick to their guns and sacrifice her. Sufficiently milked. Milked. Sonic game on a fucking shmup. Like I said, dude, it just feels like they were aping other shit, right? Like Kirby's done it. I think hasn't Mario fucking done it at some point? Nier's done it. All these endings that like, I've mentioned that before. I feel like Nier Automata has like sent ripples into the gaming world for endings, where like it has the big, super like heavy music, emotional genre change. And there's a lot of games I feel like that try to like nail that ending that probably shouldn't bother. So it's bizarre. But yeah. I am sure they saw other games do it regardless of Nier and decided that we were gonna do it. Game of the year? No. Game of the decade, I think. Letter assignments. I mean, I don't think it's wrong to like borrow from that kind of stuff, and I definitely don't mind genre shifting, but when everything is so shit in this game, it just comes across as extra hollow, and like they're aping shit really hard. Like, I try not to make like overly too many Breath of the Wild comparisons unless it really felt like there was a point, because I know a lot of people are going to be doing that. But with the ending there, yeah, I can't help but be like, you know, that reminds me a lot of some stuff, and I can't help but feel like they did it because other shit did. Wasn't like a horrible shmup section, but yeah, I mean, it was just kind of like a weak Ikaruga bit. And the story, like, impact of it all was just like whatever. I barely even understood who the bad guy was. I don't care. Like, the goofier, like, more simple stories of past Sonic at least fucking made sense, man. Like, they try so much harder on the story on this, and it ends up being so much less engaging. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, yeah, it's not a confusing story or anything. It's more just that, it's so either break-neck or disjointed. And it's so just weak that you just don't really care enough, I feel like. I hear Boost, and I think the song's made for the game, but I'm not sure. I mean, some of these songs are like fine. It's just in context is what hurts them, right? It's not like it's like a horrible song or anything. It's like most Sonic though, they have like some good songs in them, or full good soundtracks. This one I wouldn't say the whole thing is good. But then, yeah, problems elsewhere. What if this was Crush 42? I doubt. Well, we'll break into the discussion, I guess. If you guys got something you want to say on it, by all means, we can go down the list of stuff. I wrote a bunch of notes. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie though, I'm almost prefer just to move on, but once I get rolling, I guess I'll probably be into it. You didn't care about this game, you weren't invested, you ended up just skipping shit was big. You're not fit to talk about this masterpiece. Fuck off. I gave it a good fucking goddamn shake. Went in with an open mind. It looked rough in the previews, but I was like, you know, the other ones I didn't give a try. This one, I tried it. It was bad, man. At best, it's like super average. Middle of the road. Not even a fanboy and it hurts. Yeah, I'm not like ultra invested in Sonic. Sure, if you're a Sonic fanboy, this is like a second coming or something, but considering how bad most of the games have been lately.
Father?
That's my girl.
I like how they're making Eggman some fucking father, dude. It's my girl. Yeah, of course she's back. Of course they wouldn't stick to it. What a fucking wank out, man. Yeah, he's got a family. He's trying to move on from Sonic. Get the fuck out of here. Alright, well, overall, I don't think it was very good. I think at best, I'm being very generous, it was just kind of okay. Or average, or just you know. But overall, I just think from top down, there's an issue everywhere. It doesn't feel terribly great to play. It's hard to give a game kudos for being like a brain off little collectible thing with repeated activities. It's the same kind of kudos you'd give to like a Far Cry or something, right? So like there's not really anything there to be super positive about. I think the biggest things you could be positive about on this is got some decent songs here and there. Some of the cyberspace levels, while completely ripped from other games, both assets and layouts, can be kind of fun to like speedrun a little bit. The idea of an open world Sonic, is there no music? Is it just quiet? Okay, I'll put on my own music, I guess. Some Sonic music. The idea of an open world Sonic, this is like the Arceus kudos I'm giving it, right? Like the worst possible thing, but that an open world Sonic could be a good idea. The idea of a Sonic with momentum that actually could use terrain in cool ways to move around quickly, while still having fun usages of the colorful cast of characters and interesting creative things that like an environment like a Green Hill or a Pumpkin Hill or something could have in an open world is neat. That could be cool. It doesn't do any of that, so it's a very hollow gesture, and I'm kind of like weird about like people giving games credit for being like possibly good with more iterations. This was $60. There hasn't been a Sonic game by them in like 5 years, right? I'm not fond of just giving like over credit to like well, it could be cool. Like, okay, yeah, you can make up your own idea that could be cool, right? I mean, the difference is they made this and gave it to you, or not gave it to you, and then you paid for it, and it's like, I think it's a very hollow gesture to be like, you know, well, it's a cool recipe. I want the series to go this direction. It's like, sure, yeah, so would I. Sure, I don't honestly care where the direction goes as long as it's good. So I guess that's a positive still, though. It feels like a hollow positive, but it is a positive. So, oh, yeah. Those are some of the positives. We'll get into more as I go, I suppose. Those are the initial ones. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna try to avoid slamming the community too much. The crazy rabid fan base. I mean, the OST has good portions to it, for sure. I mean, they're not always fitting, for sure. It just feels like they just took some licensed songs and threw them in here, which can be fine, but yeah, I feel like the fan base is like, they got Stockholm Syndrome, or they're starved. The standards are so low that this looks like a masterpiece, but like I'm not too invested in Sonic, so it just isn't that good in the long run. Genesis sucks. Sick take. Is it good enough OST you'd buy the game for? No, I don't think it's that strong by any means. It's a good portion of it. I wouldn't call it good because it's like the music, just like in any Sonic game. The thing is, Sonic music has a pretty high standard. This doesn't quite hit that bar. Not only does a lot of it not really feel like it fits like Sonic, it just, like I said, feels like a bunch of, I mean, they just got like 1OK Rock to do like a song and stuff. But it's very inconsistent. So most of the time, like 90% of the game, you're going to be running around the overworld areas, the exploration bits, and it's just going to be like, okay, I can't have rap in the background. It's actually hard to, like, multiple words coming out of multiple sources distracts me. I'm actually gonna turn this down even more, man. Of course, I can't get to my fucking mixer. But yeah, I mean, in the overworld, though, you're getting essentially what's just kind of like somber, melancholic, like ambient or orchestral type of music. I turned down to you guys there. And it's like, that's cool and all, but like that's what you're listening to for most of it, and a lot of the tracks feel repetitive or they're mixed so quietly with the rest of the volume they're like almost inaudible. Inaudible's though, I think, overstating it, but yeah, so that's what you're gonna hear most of the time. It's just not very fun or interesting or just nice to listen to music. In the cutscenes and stuff, you're gonna get like either some really bombastic or heroic or whatever the fuck, like orchestral, almost like score type of music, and it's just so, it's so unearned. It's not that it's like great in its own right, I guess, but it's just so over the top for how weak a lot of the story and the situations they are in. But the bosses, I guess they have some unfitting, like, I mean, 1OK Rock type of stuff going on. It's at least fun, cheesy, like the old games or something, like a live and learn, but because they happen pretty often and just at the drop of a hat, they don't have the impact of like a Open Your Heart or some shit. Really the best songs are probably the cyberspace ones, and they don't feel like Sonic music, they just feel like kind of interesting like EDM shit or something, but they're at least decent. Yeah, so I don't think saying the music's good is a bad take, but it's definitely not like saving the game or anything, and it's not as good as other games in the series. I don't know, I haven't played one since Generations, a new one. I've played Sonic games since Generations, but that game had really great music. So did most of the old ones. So maybe the standards have dropped a little bit. That's why people say that. I don't know. Anyways, those are some of the positives. Let me go down the notes list, man. Combat. So one of the big new changes to this game is combat. I think it was horrible. It's insanely simple. The entire skill tree is focused on combat. Like, you don't really, there's not much dodging, there's not much back and forth with the enemy. Like, you'll parry, but there's no parry timing, you just hold block. And then just auto, like, QTs happen essentially afterwards. So essentially the combat just comes down to just mashing. And then you could punctuate your mashing session with a different button press out of stuff you've unlocked, and watch a couple second cutscene of you beating the shit out of the boss as the camera flips around everywhere. And that's pretty much it. I mean, you saw essentially what the best way to do combat was there. I press X once, and then I press B, and then I just do it over and over because time stops. So you just essentially go through all the boss's health in 2 seconds, and it's just completely busted. The story in hours, I have streamed this game so far for, well, actually I could check in game with it. I don't know if it saved it. 14 hours. I would say I did a okay amount of side stuff. I think you could probably get an extra 10 out of it if you wanted to grind all of your stats to max and like S rank everything. So maybe a little longer than your average Sonic game, but a lot of it is very boring and slow, so I wouldn't call it a... That's on hard mode. Yeah, and I don't think it's worth it for $60, my friend. Yeah, and it's not a terribly interesting 14 hours, I'll tell you that. Yeah, that's the thing is, I mean, I just went from like Bayonetta to this, so it's like, and that's the deal is like, even, it's like, yeah, okay, it's maybe not fair comparing to like a DMC5 or something, but for any combat, man, like, it's very bad. Like, I mean, you could even argue fucking basic Zelda combat is better, because at least there's some element of like getting away from the thing, or you're playing with the environment, you know, like a Breath of the Wild, and that's not like crazy combat. But at least it like uses the environment or something, right? But then yeah, you compare it to like an actual character action game, even just something basic like a God of War, hell, even the new God of War, right? Just so much more thought out. And it's like, well, this is so much more than old Sonic. Well, the thing with old Sonic combat is you just fucking jumped on the guy and moved on with the platforming. He was just another fucking like obstacle in the platforming, right? It wasn't supposed to be like a big thing where you stop. Like in Demon's Turf, they made you stop and fight for a while, and it ruins the pace. Same in this. So when they actually fucking sit there and make you fight more often, there's new standards involved in how good the fighting is going to be. So the entire skill tree is all fight shit. You can essentially just insta-kill everything. There's very rare enemies that require you to use different abilities, and usually the only thing would be you circling the enemy slowly with a psi loop or whatever. So, you know, there's not like a bunch of enemies, oh, I'm gonna have to shoot this guy and then jump to this guy and then spin around this guy real quick and then use some kick to get this guy or dash into this guy. No, it's just the same fucking button mashy shit the whole time. That's mindless, even on hard mode. When I saw the first open world showcase trailer, I was like, damn, that's kind of empty though. What do you think? Is it really that empty? Yeah. I guess we could move into the open world now. I mean, I guess I talked about the combat being pretty bad. Yeah, I mean, I think it's less that the world is empty. Like, you're not going to run long distances without seeing something to do. It's that the world is populated with extremely boring things to do. I mean, you're getting activities like running in a hamster wheel, cutting weeds, corralling animals, like ranching animals. What else do I got in here? Using heavy machinery to drop spheres in, you know, colored fucking circles. Throwing balls into hoops. Jumping rope. Pressing buttons. Pressing the block button. Like, that's the kind of shit you're gonna do in the game, right? So, like, other than that, the world is filled with just platforming, just thrown around. They just kind of made like a little platforming thing and then just kind of shit it out. And most of this platforming, it's one way to do it. It's usually composed of auto platforming, so it's just rails, auto bouncing, areas where there's no like shortcuts or different ways you can take it. It just plays itself. Way too many rails, and then a few parts where you're gonna actually have to press a button. And then like that's most of what the world's filled with. So I wouldn't say it's empty, but honestly, I'd almost prefer it fucking be empty and I just move on, right? Like a lot of these activities they fill it with are just so dull. Well, you should have seen the last boss ping. It was a shmup. It was an Ikaruga fight, exclusive to hard mode. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's super empty. It looks horrible. The composition's horrible. The platforming itself has no cohesion with the visuals, and the activities themselves are not fun at all. But it's not empty. The rewards for a lot of shit aren't good either, especially because they have a fucking fishing minigame that allows you to buy all the key items and all the stats you could want at a much quicker rate than any exploration would allow. It's just, I feel like fundamentally it's fucked. But yeah, what else? Activities are boring. What else did I write? Yeah, there's not much to spice it up. There's a few story moments where you might be running from a big monster. Some of the bosses are neat, where they're like creating platforms in the actual world and you run around. But a lot of them tend to be a little too long or janky or something, and you don't really need to kill them. They take a while. They rip the camera in their direction and stuff. And the combat's so weak. It's like, would you really want to fight that many bosses? That's like, I don't know. Other than that, yeah, you're getting a few story moments. Yeah, like I said, the corralling of the rocks and the crane games, those are like your big story moments that spice up the areas. Other than that, it's like, you know, they'll block sections of the world off until you watch a cutscene. And not a whole lot of fun stuff there, right? Something like a Mario Odyssey is going to have a lot of unique assets, unique, interesting challenges, and and cool things going on. Stuff like the hat allows you to like kind of interface with the environment in different ways. Like you be a T-Rex or something, and then you can do new things. Nothing like that in this. What you see at the beginning, the kinds of platform you're gonna get, the kinds of activities you're gonna get, are what you're gonna see at the end. They're not very creative, and there's not a lot of spice in there, so that sucked. I talked about automated platforming. It's very samey, visually and gameplay-wise. A lot of locking into 2D in the open world, especially in the third world. You're fucking like just flying around, minding your business, and then all of a sudden you're locked into 2D for a while. You can't get out. Just let me click a stick, and just lets me leave the 2D. Why not? Or tighten the controls, and I could just like, you know, jump over the 2D shit using 3D stuff if I wanted to. But like I said, by exiting it, that would be cool. So yeah, locking the 2D was annoying. Third world was really bad about it. Like I said, it looked like shit. The textures were bad. Nothing was creative. It was going for a very like realistic style mixed like juxtaposed with Sonic. Well, that's not that interesting. Because one, every game's done that shit. It looks like an Unreal Engine asset flip. And they don't create any cool, interesting things for you to fucking play with or do or see. So it's just a generic environment with Sonic, and that's supposed to be what's cool about it. It's like, who cares? I'd rather see Green Hill Zone explorable, or Pumpkin Hill explorable, or something new that was more colorful and more Sonic, more creative, right? Like, I don't need more hyper-realistic bullshit, man. It just didn't do anything for me there. You know, like I said, the platforming's not very cohesive with the environments. It doesn't need to be like everything I platform is attached to a mountain, but like you look at like the Generations areas in this game, they at least are flavored. The assets are flavored in the design of like Sky Sanctuary or something, right? You could do stuff like that. You could make actual cool areas that you go to that do have like features, right? Like that are climbable or something. There's like big like obelisks and stuff in this game, but a lot of it you don't really climb or do anything cool with. It's just like more like black rails attached to the side of it if you ever go up it. Yeah, it looks like a playground. The platforming doesn't really have like, I feel like a flow or anything to it. You'll just start up in random places, which sometimes are hard to see because there's just so much lying around and everything looks so bad. And it just feels like a jungle gym, man. It just feels like a playground of just random shit just thrown around, right? There's no rhyme or reason. And if those sections are really, really fun, okay, right? Like, okay, you don't want me just to go in a menu and play a little micro level. You want me to do it in overworld. That'd be fun, but they're not that fun. Like I said, they're mostly like auto-platforming. It's not very interesting at all. I'm sorry, I got much notes, so I'm kind of going down the list from the open world bit right now. Yeah, a lot of the worlds become increasingly linear. The third world has way too many like required rail sections to get to different chunks. So the feeling of like running around through the environments and picking and choosing what you want to do is like lessened because you always have to go through this like rail thing. And then you get there and you find out you don't have the required, you know, 50 fucking currencies to unlock the next area. So you have to go back, and then you have to go back again. And they have the fast travel rail, the silver rail, but like, I mean, I feel like I hardly use the damn thing because you don't see where it goes on the map, and it's not always going to be a straight shot to where you want to go. It's just kind of like, you know, just fucking flying around. And then you have stuff like Big the Cat that invalidates it anyways because he allows you to have an instant super fast travel, which is cool, to like all the little NPCs. And it's like nothing just is synergizing, nothing's just fucking working right. Like everything, there's too many mechanics. There's ignorable, or it should be cheesed, or you just don't want to like engage with because they're just not fun. And it's like there's nothing's running on all cylinders there. Like I said, okay, linear shit. Third world's the worst offender. Very few options to get to the same places in later areas. Especially World 3. 2 and 3 were bad about it. I lost a bit trying to find the right entrance to something. Because there's a lot of areas you only get to from just like weird ramps or cannons or something. I guess not cannons, but... Pop-in was horrible. That's a big one you're going to see from a lot of people. In an adventure game, right, being able to see where you're going and pick out where you want to go and how you're going to get there, the pathfinding and stuff is part of the battle, right? It's part of what you're doing as you're always playing, right? Even in, you know, just a game where you move in general, right? But in a game like that's totally focused on moving and adventure, making it so that you can only see platforms when you're like 20 feet away from them or less. It makes it so that that feeling of picking out where you're going and how to pathfind is completely changed. And I think changing that core element of the experience because of a fucking shitty tech issue, it's like so bad, man. So the pop-in's horrible. Yeah, you're not going to see a lot of stuff from afar, and what you do see from afar looks garish anyways. But there's just no win in there. It's not like this game's going for like a super like Breath of the Wild style exploration. I don't think too many comparisons to that should be made. But there is still some element of like pathfinding and exploration. So so the visuals matter, but there, and the pop-ins is bad for it. And for that matter, I mean, an adventure game, you want to go to like alien places that are interesting to look at and they captivate you. And like the game looks bad, so it's like that sucks too. So in the same vein. I mentioned the cyberspace levels. They're essentially just asset flips. From what I understand, they're actually just layouts from old Sonic games, repurposed into this with one of 4 tile sets. I think it was Chemical Plant, was it Speed Highway, Green Hill Zone, and Sky Sanctuary. They look nicer than the actual game, but because they're essentially just repurposed old stuff on top of a game that doesn't have much good stuff that's original to begin with, it's kind of a burn there. I'd rather just go play Generations again or something. But some of the music's okay. The 2D ones have the problem of not being able to see a whole lot in front of you. And usual. I mentioned the combat. Hard's really easy. Bosses are super jank. A lot of visual noise. A lot of clipping into stuff. A lot of bad animations. There's a lot of attacks that look like they're going to do something, but it doesn't matter. You can beat some of these bosses with one hand. Literally, we beat some of them without moving with one hand. But they look like they're crazy, so not all of them are like that, but they look like they're way crazier than they are. The actual gameplay, I think that's pretty accurate for the whole game. It looks really flashy. Somebody might come and see me grinding on rails, see the auto platforming going crazy, the music's bumping on the fights, you're supersonic, shit's going crazy. But when you're actually playing the motherfucker, you ain't doing a whole lot, man. It's very light. So, I mean, if you're just like visually just like getting assaulted by all the crazy camera angles and stuff, that's cool. But it's not very engaging to play as a platformer or in combat. I mentioned the skill tree. Very little platforming upgrades. I appreciated that it didn't have a bunch of stat upgrades in there. I liked that it was actual real abilities, but they were all abilities that were adding moves to the combat, which was horrible and solved and cheesy already, so it was kind of pointless. They have stuff like auto combo, like, oh boy, I got an upgrade that's far down the tree to let me have the game play itself a bit more. Okay, like, awesome. Whatever, dude. Like, so that's the kind of shit you're getting. The stats, I don't think, honestly, the game probably didn't even fucking need stats. But if they really wanted the stats, I think making it so you upgrade less often, but have bigger feeling upgrades, that you can really tell you got an upgrade in like speed, or you can really tell you got a health upgrade or an attack upgrade, would be smarter. I would also tone down, obviously, the amount of shit in the overworld and focus on more like quality stuff, and then have those things be rewards there. Stuff like Big, I would make it so he has finite amount of things to get, and you're just essentially just collecting those things out. It's just like a little bonus, you know, collectible. Like getting all the purple coins is essentially just so you can get like the 5 big power tokens and 5 defense ones from him or something. I think that'd be smarter, because as it is now, everything feels so negligible. I barely know. Like, I can tell by the end I was quicker, but every time I get a single speed upgrade, I don't really feel it. So when I find one out in the world, I don't really care. Also, because I can get so many from Big, it makes the reward of finding one even worse. The combat's so broken also that power I don't really care because you're just gonna like stop time and insta kill everything anyways. So it just makes everything silly. Stuff like ring capacity, like I mean, you can get hit a couple more times. They barely ups the amount of rings you can hold, so it just doesn't really matter. The menus to even just like level up are insanely slow. If you get a bunch of the little Korok dudes and level up your speed, you're gonna be there for like 5 minutes. Slowly going through the menu, picking one option at a time, and it's just bizarre, man. So, yeah, I don't know. I think you could just get rid of the stats, but I get they wanted something to fill the world with to collect that like went into your overall, you know, to give you some kind of feeling of reward and improvement and shit. But I think you could have tuned it different. I think something like slower but more significant, or just, you know, maybe new moves, more significant content out there, more fun shit to do, like real things to find. That'd be fine too. I mean, you could upgrade like health or the amount of rings hits you can take or something, sure, but oh, what else we got in here? And if you guys just want to talk about the game, ask a question or anything, we can talk about it. It's not just supposed to be ranting, but I wrote a bunch of shit. And I wanted to make sure that I kind of wanted just to not, I kind of want to just like end it and then just move on, but I figured we've talked enough about it. There's a lot of people who are invested in Sonic that I wanted to properly kind of go over. At this point, it's a list of grievances. Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea too. I mean, that's something that's been popular through Sonic. I mean, in Sonic Adventure, right? I think that'd be a cool way to do it. I mentioned that earlier, right? When I was playing it, I was like, okay, well, what if you were in like a Green Hill Zone exploration zone or something, and Sonic's all about momentum. He could bank off of hills and do crazy speed, and he's how you get to new areas or do certain speed challenges or something. But if you wanted like some more fine-tuned movement, and you wanted to do like more of a combat exploration area, you'd like swap to Knuckles, or if you wanted to have, like a flight bit, you swap to, Tails, and like they handled this more complicated, fleshed out, interesting world with more cool activities in their own little way, and you like swap between them and stuff. You could have more fun characters pop in, you could have more story moments probably. It would make more sense. As it is, like, they just reached none of the potential of it, man. But yeah, I think that's a good idea for sure. I don't know how I mean, I've seen people say that too. How does Sonic still, like, I think there's some study or some like poll or something where he's considered like the third most recognizable video game character still. Like, how does he even pull it off anymore, man? The dude hasn't had a fucking truly great game in like eons, man. You could argue, other than Sonic Mania, he hasn't had one since the 2D days. I would say Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 and Generations are good. And of course, I like Mania, right? They have their caveats for sure, but and I haven't played all of the new Sonic games, but definitely not enough to be like as popular as he is, man. I mean, I would like Sonic to be good. Yeah, it's not like I have some kind of vendetta. I want Sonic to fail. I mean, I've grew up on some of these Sonic games, right? The originals and like Adventure and stuff, and I think there's potential to have a really cool, speedy 3D platforming game, but yeah, they just don't hit it, man. Yeah, and that's another thing is they recycle. I mean, I was going to say that with the movement. I was going to get into that section. First thing I put on there, same old shit. Feels like the same old shit, man. People say that Sonic always is trying different shit. They try new gimmicks, man. Otherwise, it feels like the same old fucking shit, man. Other than not being able to like air dash, like an adventure or something, it's the same old auto rails. It's the same old boost. It's the same old fucking, we're going around auto loop-de-loops and having the tracks bounces and the little treadmills do everything for us. Feels like the same old shit. He controls with less momentum now, if anything. And it's like, damn, I'm like, it's like 20 plus years, man. And I feel like I'm playing, in the great part, the same game or worse in some ways. So it's bizarre, man. Yeah, I don't know, I guess. I mean, there's a lot of fan games that seem to be interesting, but bizarre, yeah. I think there's Mario's far more consistent in quality. If you mean the amount of games, though, yeah, probably. Mario tends to release one 3D platformer a generation. They usually go pretty hard. Or Sonic will put out a few. But Mario has a lot more spin-offs. Sonic has some for sure, but yeah. I would definitely like Sonic to be solid. I just don't know what it is, man. I mean, I think they should take an idea and just really hone it and like really clean up stuff. And then again, I mean, they took Boost and they never let it go, so it's like, I mean, I don't know anymore. I don't know what they should do. I mean, there's ideas out there for sure. I think you could do something cool with this, but it needs to be reworked in every way, down to the kinds of activities, the visuals, the way it feels, just the variety, like everything, man. Essentially, the game needs to be like fucking tuned up, man. So it's like to say it's just got a good idea, and this is just not enough. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, like I said, the movement, yeah, lack of momentum and shit. It just doesn't feel all that good. I mean, but it's not a huge deal. Context on homing is really bad. Contextual shit in this was bad in general, especially with homing. So you can't, so if you run past a guy and you want to like homing attack back to him, you can't. He has to be on the screen and he has to be targeted, which you don't really have any control over. There's a lock on in this game. I don't think I ever used it outside of when they made me. Wouldn't have helped there because I mean it just auto locks on. It locks on to what you have soft locked, so unless there's an enemy that's going to stay up for a while, there's not really a point to it. But yeah, so the idea is, so if there's a bunch of objects at once out in the area, where it's locking onto is going to be really jank and really hard to figure out where it's going to go. It becomes an issue sometimes on certain enemy types who shoot out a lot of things you're supposed to like climb up. If you're doing any tricky platforming, or if you run past something really quickly because you're too fast or something and you want to go back, you can't do it. So that's fucked. So it's the contextual stuff in this game is really shit, with the camera and all that, especially with homing. So that sucked. The camera is really bad too, so that makes it even worse. So you'll be doing some weird platforming, the camera's gonna fidget around, you're gonna clip everywhere, but you're trying to, you know, dash into something and then you can't do it. So you get fucked, right? So the janky camera coupled with the weird context shit just makes for a really fucking rough time. But, we can go more in the camera in a bit, but let me catch up in the chat. They need to do what Doom did, distill the idea down at its core and built it up from there. For Doom, they're like, we want the comedy frantic and fast paced, and players should feel like they're fast all the time. Yeah. I just don't know if they know what they want. In the past, didn't they go on record and say that they had to have like a new gimmick in every Sonic game to keep it like interesting? Yeah, I think they really need to like do like Miyamoto did back in like Mario 64 or something, and just sit there with the character and make sure it all feels really good and hone in like on one thing and then build the game around that. But instead it just feels like it's all gimmicks and too much of it just doesn't have enough like thought into how fleshed out the rest of it is. But yeah, absolutely, yeah, they need to just like really clean up. Go back to the drawing board, clean it up. I don't know, there's so much that needs to be done with it, man. Like, you can do what you want with story. This game has a lot more and we'll get into it, so there's a bit more to say about it, but yeah, it needs a lot. Like, they need to have some kind of just extremely fun foundation, and to actually try to like build some creative like fun things around that. Right, like at least in Generations, like, you felt fun enough, but they had a lot of fun little activities that weren't just fan service, but like a lot of fun level design and stuff to do. And it's like you just don't get that in this. Too much of it is just throwaway or just boring or lame or janky, and it just doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I want from Sonic. Something that just feels good to play. I don't care. I don't want gimmicks, honestly. Just something fast. It's probably something with like a feeling of weight or momentum or something. And like fun colorful or creative worlds. It can be free, it can be open world, it can be a platformer, I don't care. You can have multiple characters. At this point, I'll just take something good, yeah. Yeah, Mario's like a very good thing. Mario gets a lot of games on Switch and stuff, but Sonic, that's why I think they should pay more attention to it. Make a really fun game, maybe dimension travel into the high-speed Sonic has and shit. A lot of options I don't really care about to use it. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like a Game Freak problem. There's like things they could do, but there's just so much always wrong on a fundamental level with these things that like it's hard to just be like, ah, this is what they should do, this is what they need to do, because it's like, it's just so much, man. It's not like this is an idea that's so good that they just need to tweak a few things, right? It's like the only good thing about the idea is that Sonic could work in an open world, right? Like where he like freely can move around and like bank off the hills and use momentum and kind of like do cool shit in like wide open spaces. But like other than that, like they didn't really nail anything, right? I mean, at least not to a big degree. So I mean, I'm no developer. When I do these talks, I like to try to actually have real ideas for how things could work instead of just trashing them. But yeah, I mean, hopefully we've put some forward, but there's just so much, man. The game's just fucked, man. I don't know. Yeah, out of the buffet of ideas for sure is a good way to put it. Money laundering. I don't know. I think it's one of those Game Freak type of things where they just... I'm sure they want to make something good, but I gotta wonder, yeah, if just like either the people or the direction or something just don't have it in them, or like, I don't know what it is. And I was like, I hate to say that because that's really mean. I'm just some dude sitting here, right? But it's like, you gotta wonder, that's like with 343, it's like, I mean, they just consistently put out for decades, like things that are not good, like, and like, I mean, the fans know better, everybody knows better, but like it still happens. And is it like, is it corporate meddling? We talked about that earlier. It's like, is it corporate meddling? Is Sega doing something? Is there some kind of direction that's just really bad? Do they just not know how to make Sonic work? Like, do they just have the like, it doesn't matter because they make enough money, like Game Freak, they just put out slop and it's fine? Oh yeah, I mean, Sonic always sells fine. That's the thing, is there's a very like dedicated fan base. That's part of it too. Like maybe it's like, I mean, people talk bad about the Sonic games, but they sell. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, dude. That's the weird thing is like, I feel like the texture work and the animations and the amount of fish you fished up in this was almost more impressive visually than anything in the game. That's so fucked. That's so weird. I don't know. Yeah, it's like, I don't want to get like terribly personal about the devs or the fan base or anything. I mean, unless it has like some value as to why the series is fucked, but because I just don't know, right? Especially with the devs. But we can at least talk about mechanics and ideas and stuff. You think it's the first AI made game? Honestly, I feel like that would probably end up better. What else did I have in the movement section here? Yeah, we talked about context. Was bad. I don't have any of this like formatted very well, so it's gonna kind of just, I'm reading down the list. Yeah, the momentum and stuff doesn't feel very fun. You stick to like a magnet to too many surfaces, so when you're like trying to launch off of something, unless it's specifically made for it, sometimes you'll just stick to it and it feels odd. And especially when you're going really fast. You don't get a feeling of speed and freedom and stuff. You feel very shackled, I feel like. That's not the feeling I really want. It's just not fun. Boost doesn't stay on most actions. You have to repress it a bunch of times. Auto platforming. Very janky game. Like I said, the magnetizing, launching off weird shit. Sonic will be in like fucking weird angles. When he's flipping around, you're clipping into shit. The 2D to 3D rips. The camera. All that kind of stuff. Jank can be something that has charm to it, or something that doesn't matter that much, like in an Elder Scrolls game. It still matters to a certain extent, but maybe the sum of all parts, or what the game's really focused on, that it does well is all that matters. But I feel like the jank in this game affected too much of what the core of it was, the platforming and the exploration. It wasn't the worst jank ever or anything, but there's definitely a lot of times where you're doing stuff and it felt very inconsistent. I feel like I couldn't trust myself to do something because something was going to go wrong. One of those parts there, we had the 6 towers and I was like running up the green wall, just because the camera was in a weird direction. I'd press up to the right and I'd go down to the right. Weird shit like that would happen, so I couldn't trust my own skill set. I couldn't trust his moves. And when you can't trust your own fucking character to do what it's supposed to a lot of the time, that really kind of like hurts some of the feeling of shit. So that sucks. There's a lot of moments like that, which just give it an overall just kind of like unpolished, kind of shitty feeling. But it wasn't a game-breaking thing. The FPS was pretty bad. I wish it was 60. I'm playing on an Xbox One. Cool, that's why. Well, Bayonetta ran at about 60, and that was only on the Switch. So fuck off. That has way more shit in it. And this game looks somehow worse than Bayonetta 3, and that one looked pretty weak too. So I don't think there's much excuse there. The pop-in issues, I think, are on every platform. It's a 60 FPS lock on PC, so I mean, clearly that's not a terribly fucking juicy game on a technical level. Mention open world, look like shit, world becomes linear, pop-in, cyberspace, story. So this game has a bit more story than the average Sonic game, to my knowledge. I haven't played them all. So it's more worth talking about. Usually Sonic's just goofy shit. It's just, at least in my experience, just fun goofy shit, and who cares? Or it's just funny, like cringy meme shit you can joke about later. It's over the top, colorful bullshit. This game takes a different turn. It goes for like a more somber, melancholic game with a bunch of themes, you know, of loss, of parenthood. There's themes of fucking camaraderie and fucking, you know, sacrifice and all. They go for all this shit, right? But I feel like it's done in such a hollow, bare bones way. I feel like you don't even get a good, just boom, just initialization like of the setting. Like, we're just kind of there, and things happening, and they're introducing little bits of lore and all that, and your friends are trapped, and you just kind of, there's a cutscene a minute, but it just, I never really feel like really just in it. So that doesn't help. And then you're jumping to each of the different friends, and they have some story that's kind of focused on the little stone guys, and it's just so overly melodramatic, and it just doesn't earn it really. I don't think they really let you sit there with the characters long enough. There's way too many references to old games that just miss. They try to punctuate shit with humor that feels out of place. Like, you know, like an apocalyptic, like the world just blew up or an entire race got wiped out, and then Sonic will be like, well, that just happened, you know. It's like, but then they turn around and have like these emotional piano cues to Amy talking about, I wanna give the love you showed to the world and all that, and it's just like, I'm looking at fucking Sonic the fucking Hedgehog talking about, you know, all these deep themes and stuff, and like this just very like, you know, like it feels like a fan game kind of thing, right? It just doesn't go through enough of the steps to really own that kind of thing. It doesn't characterize stuff enough. There's not enough events that happen, and not enough time for these characters to breathe. I mean, I guess if you've played every single Sonic game, you're going to be a bit more invested in the characters by default. But as somebody who's like not ultra invested in Sonic, I like it. I know Sonic. I've played a average amount, probably as much as just the average Joe, maybe more because I played all the old ones. I'm not ultra like invested into the characterization of the characters, so like they have to actually do something, and I just don't think they do. It's just your favorite characters acting emotional, so I hope you're feeling emotional too. Like, you can tell what they're trying to do in the scenes, and if the attempt at emotion is enough for you, then you might feel something, but it tends to, I want a little bit more than that personally. So yeah, a lot of references to stuff that they use to contextualize a lot of how people are feeling. They're not a huge deal, but you do feel out of the loop sometimes when they're talking about like the Sinister Six or something, you know. You're just like okay, you know. It doesn't help that the game's pace is really bad too. There's like, you know, especially in the first world, it's a cut scene every 2 seconds, a tutorial pop up every 2 seconds. And a lot of these things could be interwoven into the gameplay, and they are, but they'll show you a tutorial anyways. So that, cutscenes being your main reward in the game means that their quality being so bad is it hurts the exploration again. It's not, you're like, oh boy, I got 250 fucking MacGuffin medals to go get this cutscene, and then it's just like, I'm an AI and I've learned so much about emotions from seeing, you know, Sonic's brotherhood and sexual tension with Knuckles, and it's like, you know, you've seen it a million times. It's very basic AI story. It's cool that they try to do something with the characters, but I'm not going to give them like a bunch of props for an attempt. I care much more about how it plays out in the execution. By the end, maybe there's some sections that are cool. The shmup section, you know, that could actually be interesting story-wise, but you're so tapped out with the story and everything before it, and context is so weak that anything that has a chance of being good, just, it's a drop in the bucket. So, yeah. So, not a big fan of the story. They're a lot, but it's not like a triangle strategy where it's like 90% of it. It's probably a good like not fourth, fifth, sixth. It's not a lot. They mentioned the music and sound. And the sound's nothing special. It's the same old shit. There's some goofy sound effects like when you get hit, but we already talked about the music. Cutscene. Oh yeah, I got little miscellaneous things. I don't know why there's a speedometer. There's a cutscene for max rings every time, and then it's in the middle of platforming, so you'll cut to a cutscene in the middle of platforming and then fucking end up falling because you're fucking, you know, you got ripped out of like the game when you're doing something. The idea of loading screen tutorial challenges I thought was neat, but if they add time to the load, they suck then, but I don't know if they did. I've got a bizarre choices here. I've got a lot of granular shit that I'm skipping over. I try to usually be a bit more general and then go into details if you guys want, but I don't know. With this game, I just feel like going through most of it. Oh yeah, so I had a bizarre choices section. The ability to change all of your speeds implies they didn't have an ultimate plan for how he should feel or a cohesive level design to match it. I still think that stands. The idea of like fine-tuning Sonic to exactly how you want him in a game with really deep movement with a lot of physics and a lot of crazy shit, like it's almost like a fucking car sim, that's cool. In a game that's generally auto-platforming, set speeds anyways in the cyberspeed areas and all that shit, it's goofy. It just makes it seem like it's pointless just to make it look like it's deeper than it is, or that they didn't have plans for the feel of the game. It's not, for me that was a red flag. I don't think it's a positive at all. I want a game that's super well thought out and how you move and the places you're going to use that movement. If you can just change it all, then what does that say about how it's going to be? Unless the game is super freeform and you can just, you know, they just give you this big playground where you could just do crazy shit in it. Sure, that'd be fine, but that's not the kind of gameplay you got here. This is very, very rigid. So I didn't like that. That was a very weird choice. I already mentioned Big the Cat, that you can buy all of your stats, all of the key items, a better fast travel from him, and at a much quicker rate. And it's honestly almost more fun than the actual game. Is crazy. What is that like? That's just crazy, right? Like they're okay with that. Just skip all of our content, right? It's like, is that really the value you put on it? That you have this feature where you could just skip it all? It'd be one thing if like Big had exclusive stuff that you could only get like so many of when it came to stats or key items. So maybe you had to go do it, or maybe if you just wanted to get a couple abilities, he had those. But he could just do everything, and he gives you it at such a fucking huge rate. I would say 2/3 of my level up at least were Big the Cat, and I didn't do good on the lottery, which is another stupid thing. They put a lottery right in the fucking middle of the screen, and then it just goes off for like 5 minutes, so you can't see where you're going. I've seen people get like 400 coins, 500 coins from one of those. That's enough to probably max out some of your stats, dude. In some of the late game fishing areas. Crazy. That makes the so when you're running around and you're finding power-ups, it makes them feel shit. Oh, cool, I got a power-up. Who cares? I could go to big and get like 100 power-ups. So this isn't a great reward. Well, it's the journey. Well, the game's not that fucking fun, man. So the journey wasn't that great. So it's like, the big just... It's cute that Big's in there. I like to meme Big. I don't mind fishing games being in stuff, but Jesus, dude, it just like undercuts everything, man. Like in that last area, I didn't even have to do a single cyberspace level. I just bought them all from Big. Like, it's crazy. I just did it just to see if we could, and we absolutely could. I skipped a lot of the tokens too. It's just bizarre, man. So that was an odd choice. At the end of the day, I didn't personally mind it because that meant we could just get through it a little quicker because I was pretty tapped out. But I think it's a horrible choice in general, like objectively. Oh, sorry, we're almost done here. Like I said, if you guys got anything else you want to talk about, by all means, interrupt me. I'd like it to be a discussion, but I'm just kind of going through a lot of shit. Wrote a lot of notes. I kind of wrote them at random. So. Yeah, upgrading range capacity and speed one at a time was bad. Oh yeah, coin rewards are shit too. Oh, so you're gonna go through something and a bunch of coins are gonna drop. You can just spin around in circles and get your coins in like 30 seconds, man. Who cares? Hell, you can even get power-ups from it. Oh, you got boost levels? Well, just draw a fucking infinity symbol, and then you just can boost as long as you want. Okay, so that hurts any coin rewards. Or, excuse me, ring rewards. A bizarre choice. Why even have the boost max out speed thing when you have a separate speed level? I don't know. It makes it also feel less interesting to level up speed because you could just sit at max coins and just rings and just go crazy. And you could get to that super easily. I tended to not spin around in circles and ever do it because I just didn't want to bother. Because having that much speed didn't really matter in the long run to me because so much auto platforming and shit was happening. But if you wanted to, you could, so it does undercut a lot of the reward of rings and shit. You have to like make yourself not engage with it. Yeah, the slot machine was bad. Yeah, so that's it. So in general, yeah, I just put RC situation where it's an okay idea on paper but executed bad. Same boring auto movement and pointless battle system that's easily broken. Filled with options that either make the entire game skippable or give you no faith in the platforming. Level design that's super linear with a lot of auto platforming. None of which is cohesive with the environment and terrain visually or gameplay wise. Dull open world with bad visuals and weak activities, very jank, the camera, the controls, especially the bosses. Bare bones melodramatic story that pretends to be deep but doesn't set up the story enough to let anything breathe or overuses a lot of tropes. Be fine if it was good, but it just wasn't. Music that's good sometimes, but it gets boring and repetitive. Cyberspace is too many flipped assets. Those are my general thoughts. Think they're going to do DLC for this? Do they generally do DLC for these? I mean, there's already like a pre-order DLC where you can get Sonic Adventure 2's shoes. I don't know. I could see them doing like an area, but I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't know their history. I could see them doing it. It has an easy recipe for it, but I mean, it took so long for this game to even come out. God knows. I mean, I would have no interest. I like Generations, and I never did the Chemical Plant DLC even, so... Credit for sticking through it seemed like a bit of a slog. I mean, I liked talking about it. I liked playing it. I just didn't like the game itself. I like chit-chatting about it and talking to you guys. And it wasn't a... So in general, though, it's not a rancid game. It still plays if you just really like that auto kind of like Sonic feel. You know, you're just a huge up Sonic fan. You know, it's probably going to be okay for you. If you're super invested in the characters already, they try to do some stuff with them that in its own right is bad. But because of like your history with the characters, it might hit a little bit. So, you know, for fanboys, it might be okay. But I think overall this game is just super subpar, man. Like I don't know if I'd go. I mean, I think if somebody just said it's bad, I respect that. I would probably say it's bad to like average, maybe. Because it's not like it was pure pain. It's just there's nothing good about it. But I don't think it hits that average level where it's like at least it's just by the numbers. I think there's just too much of it that's fucked. I don't know. It's in that realm between bad and just mediocre for me. I guess that's my kind of take on it. I don't know how I'd recommend this. It's $60 plus tax for a game that's 14 to 20 something hours depending on how hard you go on it, filled with not very fun stuff. Yeah, I don't know. What I'm willing to spend 60 on is very different than most people, so couldn't say not worth it for me, but I don't know who I'd recommend it to. I don't know how bad the last few Sonic games are, so it's really hard to have that full context. That's why I like to do like series playthroughs or play through everything before a new release. But Sonic, that's a ballsy choice, even though they're pretty short. I might go through like Forces and some of the other ones, or like Boom just for shits. But yeah, I didn't feel like getting that crazy for this one. Yeah, I mean, when you just compare this to its contemporaries, even just like Mario Odyssey or something, right? It's just like, Jesus, dude. I mean, it's not even on the same plane, man. There's just so many for that price. There's so much stuff coming out. It's like they're not even comparable, man. I just think it's crazy, man. I mean, I think that's for like the criticism. Like people shouldn't be like too butthurt about that kind of thing. I mean, you're paying for these games, man. Like, not like we're personally attacking anybody, right? Like, you have your fun. The devs, I hope, improve, but it's like, you know, I feel like talking about these kinds of like issues with some of these games is the only way that kind of thing's ever gonna get noticed, so that like things get better. I mean, don't you want to like always have the medium getting better? The money you put into it, or the time, or the passion you put into it, always being more rewarding. I think it's bizarre. People want to just kind of like criticize people not liking Frontiers. I think it's fine. I think if you like it, you know, Sonic has a very dedicated fan base. It's fine. It's not like the worst game to like. It's not like it's broken like 06 or something, but yeah, for me, I want a lot more out of it. It doesn't quite hit Game Freak levels for me, where I feel like there's just no chance they're gonna put out anything good, and they're just coasting. But it's in the realm. So. Anywho, I think that's it for Sonic Frontiers. If you guys have anything else you want to chit chat about, by all means, we could have went a lot deeper into more stuff. Watch the playthrough, I guess, if you want to see more granular bullshit. This isn't like some kind of formatted YouTube review, so that'll be it. The plan was hopefully to be playing God of War after this, but did not get it in the mail yet. I'll probably end up getting it tonight. We could do some Dragon Quest since I still got plenty of that to do. Just knock out a little bit more. I was really hoping to get back into Dragon Quest just after God of War, but instead of doing like 8 hours, but we might. I might do Frog Detective 3 here real quick. I think it'll only take like an hour or two. Just for shits. It's on Game Pass. But I think I'll probably go out and grab like a coffee or something. Although I've been drinking coffee already. But I might go get some more, eat a little bit more food. Then come back and we'll stream some more shit. If I don't stream anything more, maybe something will happen in the Discord, so keep an eye out. Yeah, appreciate you guys to chat about this with me. Apologies if it was like your favorite game or something. It's not personal. But yeah, I don't like it. Okay? I gave it a shot.